If you're feeling uncertain and anxious right now, I want you to know something. You are not broken. Nothing is wrong with you. You are a human being living in a world that moves fast, changes without warning, and throws curveballs when you least expect them. Of course you feel anxious. Of course you feel uncertain. That doesn't mean you can't handle it. It means you're alive and paying attention. Here's the truth. Your brain is wired to look for danger. That's its job. It scans for the worst-case scenario. It whispers, "What if?" 100 times a day. And it convinces you that you're not ready, not capable, not enough. But just because your mind throws those thoughts at you does not mean you have to listen. You have a choice. When the uncertainty feels overwhelming, stop and remind yourself, you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need the entire staircase. You just need the next step. That's it. One action, one small move forward. And here's the best part. Action kills anxiety. The second you move, the second you do something, you interrupt the loop of overthinking and you take your power back. Think about all the times in your life when you didn't know how things would work out, but you kept going anyway. You're still here. You've survived every single hard day, every heartbreak, every disappointment. You already have evidence that you can handle more than you give yourself credit for. Uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's proof that possibility exists. If everything were certain, there'd be no growth, no surprise, no chance for you to create something new. So the next time that tightness in your chest shows up, or the next time your thoughts race at 2 a.m., say to yourself, I can do hard things. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. Then count backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And push yourself to take action. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need to know the outcome. You just need courage for the next 5 seconds. That's how you move from fear to momentum. So if you're uncertain, anxious, or scared about what's next, hear me clearly. You are capable of handling this moment, not because you have all the answers, but because you are stronger than your doubts, braver than your fears, and more resilient than you realize. Keep going. The future isn't something to fear. It's something you're creating one step at a time. You are not broken. I want you to let that sentence really land, because most of the time, when you're feeling anxious or uncertain, your mind immediately twists the discomfort into a story that says, something is wrong with me. That's the lie anxiety loves to tell. And if you've been repeating that lie long enough, it starts to feel like the truth. But I'm here to remind you, it's not the truth. It's just a thought. Feeling anxious, scared, or uncertain is not a sign of weakness. It's not a flaw in your wiring. It's not proof that you're falling behind while everyone else has it together. It's evidence that you're alive. You care about what happens next, and your brain is trying, sometimes in clumsy ways, to protect you. That's all anxiety really is, your brain raising its hand and saying, hey, there might be something to worry about here. The problem is, your brain doesn't know the difference between an actual threat and the fear of something new or unknown. So it sounds the same alarm whether you're running from a tiger or about to send an email, and your body reacts as if both moments are life or death. But here's the shift you need. Just because you feel anxious doesn't mean you are in danger. Just because you feel uncertain doesn't mean you're unprepared. That's the sneaky trick of your mind. It confuses feelings with facts. The truth is, nothing is wrong with you when you feel this way. Nothing. You're experiencing the exact thing every human experiences when life feels bigger than their current level of control. That's normal. Think back to the last time you felt excited about something. Maybe it was starting a new job, going on a date, or trying something you'd never done before. Remember that flutter in your chest? The way your stomach flipped, how your heart sped up. Did you call that excitement, or did you call it anxiety? The answer depends on the story you told yourself in the moment. The sensations are nearly identical. The only difference is the meaning you attach to them. If you call it anxiety, you beat yourself up. You think, why can't I calm down? Why am I always like this? But if you call it excitement, suddenly you see the same feelings as energy, as readiness, as proof that you care. Same body response. Totally different story. This is why I say you're not broken. Because the very thing you think is proof you're failing is actually proof you're human. Every single person you admire has felt anxious and uncertain. Every successful person, every confident person, every seemingly fearless person has wrestled with those same thoughts. The only difference is they didn't let it define them. They didn't mistake the feelings for evidence of being unworthy or incapable. They recognized the feelings for what they are, temporary states that pass the moment you start moving. And I need you to get this. You are not behind. You are not defective. You are not less than. You are simply at a point where your brain is firing alarms because it can't predict what's ahead. That's not brokenness. That's biology. You can work with biology. You can interrupt the alarm. You can teach yourself to respond differently. The moment you stop labeling yourself as broken, you take your power back. Instead of seeing anxiety as something wrong with you, you start seeing it as something happening in you. And that shift matters, because when you believe you're broken, you feel powerless. You retreat. You hesitate. You wait for the perfect moment to arrive, thinking you need to be fixed before you can move forward. But when you believe you're human, you realize the perfect moment will never come, and you move anyway. That's how you start building confidence, not by erasing anxiety, but by proving to yourself that you can feel it and keep going. So the next time your chest tightens, your thoughts race, and you start to spiral into, what's wrong with me? I want you to interrupt it. Literally talk back to yourself, nothing is wrong with me. This is my body preparing me to take action. Then count backward, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and move. Send the email, make the call, walk into the room. Take the step. Because the more you do this, the more you teach your brain that you don't need to wait until you feel calm to move forward. You can move forward while you're scared. That's where your power is. The truth is, your anxiety isn't a signal that you're weak. It's a signal that you're about to grow. Uncertainty isn't proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're stepping into something new. Every time you face those feelings and still act, you're training your mind to trust you. And when your mind trusts you, the grip of anxiety loosens. You are not broken. You don't need fixing. You don't need to wait until you feel fearless or certain to live the life you want. What you need is to remind yourself, in the moments that matter, that you are capable of handling the discomfort. You have before, and you will again. You've already survived every anxious moment in your life up until now, and you're still standing. That's not broken. That's strength. So stop telling yourself a story that doesn't serve you. Stop believing the lie that you need to get rid of anxiety to move forward. You don't. You just need to take one step anyway. And every time you do, you prove the truth that you were never broken to begin with. Your thoughts are not facts. Read that again, because if you actually understood how powerful that statement is, it would change your entire life. Most of the anxiety, self-doubt, and hesitation you feel comes from believing every single thing your mind tells you. But here's the truth: your brain is a storyteller, not a truth teller. And most of the stories it spins, especially when you're anxious or uncertain, are complete fiction. Think about it. How many times have you talked yourself out of doing something because your mind whispered, "You're not ready. You're not good enough. This won't work. People will judge you." You believed it, so you pulled back. But did any of those thoughts come with evidence? Did they come with proof beyond your fear? No, they were just sentences your brain threw at you. And yet, you treated them like gospel. Here's why that happens. Your brain is wired for survival, not success. Its main job is to keep you safe, not to help you thrive. And safe to your brain often means doing nothing, avoiding risk, staying comfortable. So when you even think about stepping into something new, whether it's speaking up in a meeting, starting a project, or making a life change, your brain hits the panic button. It says, "This feels different, so it must be dangerous." And then it floods you with negative thoughts to stop you from taking action. But those thoughts, they're just alarms. They are not facts. Feeling like you can't do something doesn't mean you can't. Thinking, "This will go badly," doesn't mean it actually will. Your brain is like that friend who always imagines the worst case scenario and says, "Don't do it, you'll regret it." They mean well, but they're wrong most of the time. Here's what changes the game. Learning to separate yourself from your thoughts. The second you realize that not every thought deserves your belief, you stop being a prisoner of your own mind. Instead of reacting to every anxious story, you can step back and say, "Interesting. That's one way to look at it, but is it true?" Let's take an example. You're about to apply for a job and your mind says, "You're not qualified." Don't embarrass yourself. Most of us just accept that as truth and close the application. But what if instead you paused and asked, "Where's the proof? Am I really unqualified? Or am I just uncomfortable?" Chances are you'll find plenty of reasons why you actually are qualified. And even if you don't check every single box, applying still gives you a shot. But if you buy into the thought, you've already lost before you even tried. Another example, you text a friend and they don't respond right away. Your brain immediately goes, "They're mad at me. I must have done something wrong." And then your anxiety spins for hours. But the fact, they're probably just busy or forgot or will get back to you later. Your thought created a false story that sent you spiraling, but the truth was way less dramatic. This is what your brain does all day long. It throws thoughts at you. Some are neutral, some are helpful, but a lot of them, especially when you're anxious, are just noise. And if you're not careful, you'll build your entire life around lies your mind invented in a moment of fear. The way forward is simple, but it takes practice. Stop automatically believing everything you think. Instead, challenge it, interrogate it. If your thought doesn't serve you, don't treat it as a fact. You can acknowledge it. Thank your brain for trying to protect you, and then choose a different thought that pushes you forward instead of holding you back. This doesn't mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows. It means recognizing that the voice in your head is not an authority. It's just commentary. And you get to decide whether you listen or not. When you stop letting your thoughts run the show, you unlock freedom. Freedom to act even when your mind says you're not ready. Freedom to try even when your brain predicts failure. Freedom to show up fully in your life without being weighed down by mental lies. That's how you build confidence. That's how you stop letting anxiety control you. So the next time a thought pops up that makes you feel small, scared, or stuck, I want you to pause and ask yourself, is this a fact or is this just fear talking? 9 times out of 10, you'll realize it's just fear. And in that moment, you'll remember thoughts are not facts. They're suggestions. And you always have the final say. Action kills anxiety. This is the key that flips everything on its head, because the truth is, anxiety feeds on inaction. The more you sit, the more you think. The more you think, the more you worry. And the more you worry, the more paralyzed you feel. It's a vicious cycle that convinces you the only way to feel better is to figure it all out in your head first. But that's not how it works. Anxiety doesn't disappear because you think harder. It disappears because you move. When you're stuck in your head, you're rehearsing every worst case scenario like it's a movie trailer on repeat. What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I mess this up? You play it over and over until you've convinced yourself that even trying is too risky. But here's the thing, those scenarios are imagination, not reality. And the only way to prove your brain wrong is to do something. Take one step, make one move. Send one email, say one word. Because the moment you act, your brain has new evidence to work with. And that evidence is way more powerful than any what if. Think about it like this: anxiety is a car alarm. It goes off whether there's a real intruder or just a gust of wind. If you stand around staring at the car, the alarm keeps blaring. But the second you put the key in and turn it, silence. That's what action does. It interrupts the alarm. It tells your nervous system, we're safe, we're moving, we've got this. And suddenly, the noise quiets down. I'll give you a real example. Let's say you've been avoiding making a phone call you're nervous about. You've thought about it for days. Your chest tightens every time you remember it. And you keep saying, I'll do it later. That's anxiety winning. But if you just dial the number and start talking, guess what happens? Within 30 seconds, the anxiety that felt overwhelming is gone. Why? Because your brain no longer has space to spin stories. It's too busy handling what's actually happening. Action is the antidote to overthinking. It doesn't have to be a giant leap. In fact, it shouldn't be. Anxiety thrives when you imagine the whole mountain in front of you. The climb feels impossible, so you freeze. But if you break it down into the next foothold, the smallest, simplest move you can make right now, you trick your brain into moving. And once you move, momentum takes over. That's how you climb the mountain, one tiny step at a time. Here's the mistake most people make. They wait until they feel calm, ready, or confident before taking action. But that's backwards. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You build it every time you prove to yourself that you can move through fear and still handle it. That's why the first step feels terrifying, but the second is easier. And by the third, you're thinking, why was I so scared to begin with? The secret is in those first 5 seconds. That's why I talk about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown. It's not magic. It's science. When you count backwards and move before your brain talks you out of it, you beat hesitation. You stop letting your thoughts spiral and instead let your actions lead. And every time you do, you shrink the power of anxiety. Think back to your own life. How many times have you dreaded something for days, only to realize once you started that it wasn't nearly as bad as you imagined? That's the pattern, right? Anxiety before, relief after. The only bridge between the two is action. Without action, you stay stuck. With action, you move through. So here's what I want you to remember when you feel anxious. Don't sit in it, move. Don't argue with your thoughts. Don't wait for perfect clarity. Don't try to think your way out. Stand up. Send the text. Open the file. Walk into the room. Do something, anything. Because movement is how you break the cycle. Every single action you take, no matter how small, sends a message to your brain. I'm in control. And the more you prove that, the less space anxiety has to run your life. That's why I say action kills anxiety. It doesn't give it room to breathe. So the next time you're spiraling, I want you to do this. Take a deep breath, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take one step. Don't overthink it. Just move. That's how you win. That's how you break free. That's how you take your power back. You've survived before. Let that sink in. Because right now, if you're feeling anxious, uncertain, or stuck, your brain is trying to convince you that you can't handle what's in front of you. It's whispering, this is too much. You're not strong enough. You won't get through this. And it feels real because fear always does. But here's the truth: your entire life is already evidence that you are stronger than you think. Think about it. You've been through hard things. You've had days when you thought, I can't do this. I can't handle this. I won't make it through. And yet here you are, reading this, breathing, still standing, still moving forward. Every scar, every heartbreak, every failure, every disappointment, you've lived through all of it. And not only did you survive, but you learned. You grew. You became wiser, tougher, more resilient because of it. But here's what anxiety does. It makes you forget your track record. It blinds you to the evidence of your own strength. It tricks you into believing that this time is different, that this challenge is bigger, that somehow you've run out of the capacity to cope. And that's a lie, because the proof is already in your past. Every obstacle you once thought was insurmountable eventually became just another chapter in your story. Remember when you didn't know how you'd pay that bill, but you found a way? Remember when you thought your heart would never heal after that breakup, but it did? Remember when you were terrified of walking into that new job, that new school, that new city, but eventually it became familiar. At the time, you doubted yourself. But looking back, you see the truth. You handled it. You adapted. You survived. That's what I mean when I say you've survived before. Your past is a library of proof that you can do hard things. And when anxiety tells you otherwise, you've got to remind yourself of that evidence. Literally stop and say, wait, I've been here before. I've faced uncertainty before. And I'm still here. That reminder is like an anchor that pulls you out of panic and back into reality. Because here's the thing, your survival isn't an accident. It's not luck. It's you. It's your resilience. It's your grit. It's your ability to figure things out as you go. That's why you're still here. And the same qualities that got you through before will get you through again. Anxiety wants you to believe you need to have everything figured out in advance. But you don't. You never did. Every single time you've moved through something hard, you did it the same way, one step at a time. You didn't need a perfect plan. You needed courage for the next moment. And that's exactly what you need now. I know it feels overwhelming. I know that what-ifs are loud. But overwhelm is just your brain trying to process the entire future at once. You don't need the entire future. You just need the next action. And when you take that action, you remind yourself, see, I can handle this. I always could. Here's what's powerful. The more you reflect on your survival, the stronger you get. Because resilience builds on itself. Every time you face fear and move anyway, you add another piece of proof to your record. You strengthen the voice inside you that says, I've got this. And slowly, that voice gets louder than the one saying, I can't. So when doubt creeps in, make it a practice to recall your past wins. Write them down if you have to. Make a list of moments you thought you'd never get through but did. That's not just memory, it's evidence. Evidence that you are capable. Evidence that you are resourceful. Evidence that you are a survivor. And listen, survival doesn't always mean you came through gracefully. Sometimes survival looks messy. Sometimes it means you cried, stumbled, or leaned on others. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you human. Survival isn't about how pretty the process looks. It's about the fact that you kept going. And you did. Every single time. So don't buy the lie that this moment is different. Don't let your brain erase your history of resilience. You've done hard things before. You've walked through uncertainty before. You've survived before. And because of that, I can promise you this, you will survive again. Uncertainty means possibility. Let's reframe this right now because most of us hear the word uncertainty and immediately feel dread. We think it's dangerous. We think it's a sign we're failing or that something's about to go wrong. That's why anxiety latches onto uncertainty. It convinces you that not knowing the future means something bad is coming. But here's the truth, uncertainty doesn't just mean risk. It also means opportunity. It means the future isn't locked. It means things can still turn out better than you ever imagined. Think about it. If everything in your life were certain, if you already knew exactly what was going to happen, who you'd meet, what you'd do, how it would end, life would feel flat, predictable, boring. Uncertainty is the space where growth happens, where change happens, where miracles happen. It's the unknown that allows new doors to open. Without uncertainty, there's no possibility for more. The problem is your brain doesn't like the unknown. It would rather have a predictable misery than an uncertain chance at joy. That's why it fills the unknown with worst-case scenarios. But just because your brain paints uncertainty in negative colors doesn't mean that's the truth. You get to choose what story you attach to uncertainty. You can say, "This is scary. I don't know what's coming." Or you can say, "This is exciting. Anything could happen." Same unknown. Totally different perspective. Remember the last time something amazing happened in your life? Meeting someone who changed you, stumbling into a new opportunity, landing in a place you never expected. You didn't see it coming, right? That was uncertainty working in your favor. The same space that makes you feel anxious is the exact space that holds the potential for magic. Uncertainty is possibility in disguise. It means you're not stuck. It means you're not finished. It means the story hasn't been written yet. And that's powerful because it gives you room to shape what happens next. Here's the shift I want you to make. Instead of seeing uncertainty as a threat, start seeing it as a blank canvas. Right now, in this moment, the future is not fixed, it's wide open, and you get to decide what brushstrokes you put down. That doesn't mean you control everything. You don't. But you do control how you show up, what actions you take, and what meaning you attach to the unknown. That's more than enough to change your life. Here's an example. Let's say you're facing uncertainty at work. You don't know if you'll get that promotion or whether your role is secure. Your brain jumps straight to fear. I'm going to fail. I'm going to lose everything. But flip it, uncertainty also means you could get that promotion. It means you might discover a new opportunity somewhere else that's even better. It means this is a chance to develop skills, connections, and courage that will serve you no matter what happens. The same uncertainty that feels terrifying also holds endless possibility. You just have to look for it. Another example, relationships. Maybe someone new comes into your life and you don't know where it's going. Your brain screams, "This could end in heartbreak." But it could also lead to deep love, to growth, to lessons you can't yet imagine. Uncertainty is the birthplace of connection. If you demand certainty before you take the risk, you'll never experience the joy that only comes from stepping into the unknown. So the next time you feel anxiety rising because of uncertainty, I want you to stop and say, "This feeling means possibility exists." Say it out loud. Anchor yourself in that truth. Let it remind you that uncertainty isn't proof of doom. It's proof that the future is still open. Think of the most meaningful chapters in your life. Almost all of them started with uncertainty. The first day of school, the first job, moving to a new city, starting a relationship. None of those moments came with guarantees. But you stepped in anyway, and your life expanded because of it. Why would this moment be any different? Uncertainty doesn't mean something bad is coming. It means something new is possible. And when you can lean into that possibility instead of resisting it, you stop letting fear write your story. You start letting courage write it instead. So here's the truth I want you to carry. When life feels uncertain, it's not a warning. It's an invitation. An invitation to grow, to discover, to create, to become more than you were yesterday. You don't need to fear it. You need to step into it. Because the unknown is where your next breakthrough lives.